Do you and your family enjoy eating a high quality, great tasting cinnamon donut? Then come along with me and I'll show you how easy it is to make in your very own kitchen. Let's go. Hey guys, Musa here from Quantum Home Improvements and Solutions. Welcome back. And if this is your first time to our channel, it's great having you join us. And so today, I'm going to show you how to make a delicious donut using the Mauri donut mix. And so Mauri is an Australian and New Zealand company and can be traced back to 1870. So I've been making donuts for well over 20 years, and I first started with the Rotary Club of Bateman's Bay where we lived for 10 years. And we used to make donuts every month for fundraising. But now that we're back in Sydney, I make it for charity events and for gatherings. And so this batch I'm making for our daughter's school meeting tonight for parents. So before using the Mauri donut mix, I was using Barkel, which is also a really good brand. In actual fact, I made a video on that over 2 years ago. And if you are interested, I'll put a link for that video in the descriptions. But the only reason I changed over is because I found Barkel's a little difficult to get sometimes and a little bit pricey. But then I came across Southern Cross Supplies, who made my life a lot easier. And I'd like to thank Justine for all her help. Okay, so now we'll get into it and I'll show you how to make this great tasting donut. But first, I'll put on my apron. Musa, Donut King. I think my wife was mocking me. So to make cinnamon donut, if you're using the cake mix, all you need basically is just water and cinnamon and caster sugar and obviously the cake mix. So now, when I buy these bags, they buy them in 15 kilos and then I break them down to a 1 kilo bag. Now going by the directions on the packet, it shows that you need 500 ml of water to every 1 kilo of donut mix. Now that says variable on there because there's two ways of mixing, either by machine, which I do have, but I prefer not to because it's a small quantity and it's a lot harder to clean, or you can mix it by hand, which I'm going to do now. So if you're going to mix it by hand, you're going to need to put more water. So I've discovered 550 ml actually works if you're doing it by hand. So first what you do is make sure that that water is roughly around about 22 degrees. So it's got to be a little warm so it penetrates the mix. So you just put that in and then just basically mix it. Now it doesn't absorb straight away, so if you mix too fast it's going to slop everywhere, so you might have to be a little careful with that. Okay, it's absorbing now. Beautiful. Okay, just make sure you scrape the bottom as usual. Okay, so you've got a nice soft consistency there. So now let that sit for 10 minutes on the side. And while we're waiting, we're just gonna mix the cinnamon and sugar. So now the cinnamon and caster sugar needs to be 1 to 4. So 1 part ground cinnamon to 4 parts caster sugar. So all you do is just mix that in. We're going to distribute that evenly, so that's looking pretty good. Okay, so now I'm just going to pour it into this little container because we won't need all this to make the donuts. Okay, so now I'll just put this on the side and we'll use that later. Okay, so now while we're waiting for the donut mix, I'm going to put some oil on the stove and get it boiling to 190 degrees. And we're going to be using cottonseed oil. Now, if you haven't used cottonseed oil before, it's a really good product for deep frying. So it has a longer frying life and also a higher smoking point. And this particular oil also has a less absorbency. So when you're eating it, you're eating less oil. So the only thing I need to tell you about is the donut dropper. Now this donut dropper I got from eBay. It's a really good product, not very expensive. It is aluminium, food grade, and it also has settings on the top depending on how big you want to make your donuts. So all you got to do is just press this down and you turn this little wheel here. And so there's different sizes you can see there, hopefully you can see on camera. And so there's little different heights. And so you choose the height that you want. Now if you want to make a bigger donut, you use the one with the longest drop. So I'll just turn it to that one there, which is there. Okay, so that's set and we're ready to go. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. I'll just mix this up again. Okay, so that's looking good. So you can see a bit of a gloss on top. That's what we're aiming for. So remember, clean the sides, scrape the sides down. Okay, so we want this pretty soft so it can come down the donut dropper easier. As you can see, it's a little gluggy, so imagine how hard that is to clean. That's looking fantastic. Okay, we're ready to start making donuts. So this part can be a little messy. I'm gonna put the donut mix into the donut dropper. Just gotta be very slow and gentle with this. Don't put too much at one time. There it goes, nice and steady. As I said, it's very gluggy. And now it'll settle to the bottom of the donut dropper. So now this side's set up. I've got a gauze here to put the donuts on. I've got a plate here to put the cinnamon. So I'll just sprinkle that around. You can see how well that's been mixed in. It's quite good. Okay. You don't need more than that. So there's still plenty in there. All right, and I've got a plate to put them in. So now, I'll just give this a bit of a shake, make sure that the mix gets to the bottom. The first one doesn't always get to the very bottom, has a bit of air in there. So I'll just try to shake that air out. Now I don't know if this oil is warm enough yet. This will just be a tester. So all you gotta do is just hold, push this handle down and hold like this, and you can see the dough coming out from the bottom. Now you can see it slowly coming down, and I put it close to the oil and I let it drop. So you can see the oil is warming up, but it's not hot enough, nowhere near hot enough. I'll just give that a bit of a stir so it doesn't burn on the bottom, and it is burning. There it is there. All right, so I need to get that a little bit hotter. I'll just put the temperature up a little bit more. That's really good. All right, I'm gonna do another one. There we go. And that's how it's supposed to fry straight away, and it's supposed to float up. So it's still not warm enough yet, but it's getting close. I'll just give that a nudge so it doesn't stick on the bottom. There we go. And that's looking good. Beautiful. So it's definitely getting warmer. Okay. So you know when to turn them around when it starts bubbling on the top and it dries up. Very similar to like a pancake. Not exact, but similar. And you can see it rising. It has the dome coming through. So I'll turn it over soon. So this one here I'd say is ready. We'll just drain the oil. And just put it on the wire gauze. So it does take a little bit of time just for that to drop through. There we go. I'll just do another one. And see how that pops up? That's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to come straight up. Beautiful. Okay, so this is looking really good. Just take that one out. I'll just put it over here. That's looking good. So this one looks ready. It's a little bit brown, but that's fine. It's actually quite nice, and so is that one. Beautiful. This is cooking faster now. So it usually takes around about a minute to fry, but that really depends on the temperature you've got it at, and also the way you've mixed it, if you've made a dry or a soft mix. So I just keep checking underneath to see the color. It's really hard to see on top. So as I'm doing, I'm actually pulling this down and letting it sit in the stand so I'm not carrying it. It takes the weight off my arm and my back. So you will get some odd sizes sometimes, like that one. Came out of the dropper a little weird. So that usually happens if you don't let go of the donut dropper straight away. It goes down to the bottom of the piston and then it clogs up. So we'll try not to let that happen again. Okay, this is going beautiful. Now I'm just going to let these ones cook through because I want to put cinnamon on the first lot. Now with the Barkel's donuts, I used to let it go to about 24 donuts. So this is a new oil that I'm using. The Pacific oil is actually working really well. I was using sea frost, but this is actually looking quite impressive. I'm actually really impressed with this oil. Okay, so I'll just take the oil off marginally. I'll just leave it slightly on, let that drain, and I'll put it on the gauze. So now, it's hard to tell when to put the cinnamon on sometimes. Now if you leave it too long, the cinnamon and sugar will not stick to the donut. But if you do it too quick, it becomes oily. So you're trying to sort of find a fine, happy medium between the two. So I do just give it a quick shake before I put it in the tray so there's just not too much cinnamon on there. So I turn the sides as well. These are looking fantastic and they smell beautiful. So I usually get my daughters to help me with this part, but they're at school, so unfortunately I'm not able to get them to help me, but it's quite easy on your own anyway. Okay, so I'll let these ones sit for a minute and I'll make some more. So you can see it coming down the extrusion there. So if it goes too far down, it then distorts the donut. So you've got to drop it before it gets to the bottom of that extrusion. All right, so once again, I'll take these out, do the cinnamon. So because I left these a little bit longer, the cinnamon doesn't stick as easy, but it's still sticking just in time. Beautiful. Okay, I'll make some more. Okay, so before I get any further, I'll just scoop up some of the mix on the sides that sort of clumping on the side. So I'll just bring that down. So easy to make donuts. You can make them in the oven, but not using this cake mix. So if you've got a different type of recipe, you can. The reason I like these is because they're very soft and fluffy. They're not too filling. Okay, I'll take these ones off. Just put a bit more cinnamon in that. Not too much. Okay, just coming down to the final couple. So you can see in there how it's now really low. You can see the extrusion. I'll just shake that in. I can get a couple more out of that. Okay, so this is the last one. But there is a little bit of mix still in here. So I'm not going to throw that away. We do have chickens on our property. So what I'm going to do is just now extrude the rest out and just let it fry. And then I'll give it to the chickens. All right, so these are now for the chickens. So in my rush to make these, my gloves ripped and I just kept going in with the donut dropper. Now I'm doing the cinnamon and I'll put some gloves back on. It is a lot easier to do this when you've got 2 people. So I found this a little bit rushed than normal. It's done. Okay, so once you've cleaned up, it's really important that you clean out your donut dropper. Okay, so just use hot water and just keep plunging it. Okay, once you've done that, just wash it down with a rough sponge with some soap, clean it up nice. And make sure you get every spot. Okay, it's clean. Okay, it's all done. So I've cleaned up everything. I've washed the dishes, which will please my wife. And so I ended up with 54 donuts. A couple of them were lopsided, but you would usually get around about 53, 54 for a 1 kilo. And so it took me about an hour all up to make them, but it is faster when someone's helping you. So jumping from the donut dropper to doing the cinnamon does slow you down a bit. So I'm very impressed with this cottonseed oil. It's the first time I've used Pacific Star, and it cooked much better than the one I was using before. I just had to get used to the temperature, but I was very impressed with it. So I'll put a link for this product in the descriptions, along with Mauri and also for Southern Cross suppliers. So taking consideration of the cost of all these products and how much it yielded, it came to around 19 cents per donut. And considering the quality of this product, that's really good value. So one thing I forgot to mention, these donuts are 10% fat-free because they've got a hole in the middle. So that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. And if you have any comments at all, please leave below and I will get back to you. And I'd ask you, please consider to subscribe, hit the like button and share this video, and there's many more to come. Thanks guys.